Good morning, afternoon, noon, evening, wherever you're watching from. Hello. I'm Vickie Howell, and this is Ask Me Monday, I believe, episode number 89. So first off, we always start here by telling each other where we're watching from. I'm in my home office here in Austin, Texas. Please remember that the comment section is our community, our knit hive, as it were. So if you have anything you want to share with each other, please do that. Connect with each other. That's what we're here for. Okay, if you're watching later on YouTube and you really are only interested in the instruction, this is a little conversational community video that we do on Facebook. So I will post in the actual description on YouTube when the demonstration starts so that you can avoid all the blibber blabber if you would like. Also, I would love to know, what did you work on over the weekend? In what ways were you creative? Karen from the Netherlands, can you please tell me, am I pronouncing your name right? You're so supportive. You're always here. Is it Karen? Is it Karen? Is it Corinne? I have friends spelling it the same way. Say it differently. Okay, back to the weekend. How were you creative over the weekend? Did you stitch something? Did you bake something? Did you photograph something? Share with us, your community, if you have pictures or links, even better, because we like to share our crafts. Colette, all the way from the Middle East. Hello, so nice to see you here. Okay, so over the weekend, what I did a few things actually, but I finally, for those of you that watch the Knit Show, and if you don't, please start. It's on YouTube. It's YouTube, the Knit Show with Vickie Howell. We did a piece on Independence Fiber Mills, Farmstead Fiber. And it's a local fiber mill here, artisanal fiber mill. And while I was there, the owner gave me this amazing bump of yarn, and I hadn't had a chance to use it. And I just thought it screamed Valentine's Day. And at the time of this recording, we are just less than 2 weeks away. Actually, we're like about 9 days away. So I crocheted these little baskets. Really fun. They're on size like, I don't know, I think it was like a 50 hook or something like that. So it was super fast, gratifying, and our kitten has found a new home in it, even though I've been keeping these on my kitchen table. So there you go. So super fun. So I would love to know what you were making over the weekend. All right. So this year, I really wanted to focus on new year, new skills. So we've been trying to introduce on Ask Me Monday just a new technique whenever we can. New to us, at least, right? And so with the popularity of brioche stitch, which is just so popular and huge right now, especially you can't like scroll through Instagram without seeing some just amazing, especially bi-colored brioche. And on an earlier episode, I covered flat, just working front and back pieces. And so I thought today what I would do is cover working in the round. So I'll be doing 2-color brioche in the round. You don't have to know how to knit 1-color brioche in the round to get something out of this video. In fact, I actually think it's easier to learn with 2 colors and then go the other way and go 1 color, just because it makes it really clear what you're supposed to do, because you have 2 different color yarns that you'll always do the same thing with the respective yarn each time. Oh, hello, Anelia from Argentina. I probably just massacred your name. Hi, Renee. So nice to see you. You're working on a sock. Jessica in Wisconsin, working on a baby hat and a 3 color cashmere cowl. Delightful. Hi, Chris. Hi, Sandra. Okay, so I'm going to flip the camera around and we're going to get started right now. So all you need for this is a 16-inch circular needle, any size, and whatever corresponding yarn would go with that size. And you're going to work with an even number of stitches. All you need to do is you need to cast on enough stitches to fully load your needle. So obviously if you're making a specific project, you're going to do as the pattern calls for, work with engage. But for the purposes of this demonstration, you would just cast on an even number so that your needle is fully loaded. This is when I'm going to turn the camera around and show you what that looks like. Okay, so I've got some steps already prepared as usual. And so the first thing, this is our color A. You're going, or main color, whatever, however you choose to recognize it. Now, there are different schools of thought about which cast on you use. I am not going to focus on the cast on now. Some say German, some say Italian, some say it doesn't matter at all. You do you. You experiment. I'll leave that up to you. Okay, so what you need to do first is you cast on, like I said, an even number of stitches and make sure that your needle is fully loaded, like this one is. Then, so I've cast on, Then what you want to do is you want to slide the stitches to the other end. Then I need a second color that I do not have prepped. Let me go ahead and grab one. Bear with me for a second. Okay. So with your secondary color, I'm going to call this color B. You are going to do what's called a setup row. You are not joining in and then around at this point. We're just joining this secondary color. All right, so with the yarn in front, which will be a little bit persnickety for the setup row, and we'll deal with that later, you are going to slide one, and you always slip, not slide, you always slip stitches purlwise unless otherwise noted. You're going to slip one, do not slip one off the needle like I just did. In fact, that was ugly. I'm going to do that again. Okay, you're going to slip a stitch, yarn over, and purl one. Now, you'll notice that this tail is kind of cray-cray. Just let it hang loose, and we'll deal with that later. Hi, Karen, watching from Singapore. Really nice to see you here. Okay, so then you're going to just continue that all the way across. So you slip one, purlwise, yarn over, purl one. Slip one, yarn over, purl one. And you would just continue to do that until you've worked all the way across, ending with a purl one. And what that'll look like is, I'm changing colors on you, so don't let that shock you, is this. You'll have a gajillion loops, and you can see all the yarn overs, and you'll also have your two colors. Okay, so that is the only time that you have to deal with sliding your stitches from one end to the other. It's not like working flat, and this is the part that I actually think that knitting in the round, brioche stitch in the round, is monumentally easier to remember and feels more intuitive than flat. So if you were intimidated by the end of the round portion of this, just know that I believe it's actually easier. Okay, so now we are at the point, we've got both of our colors on our needle, and it is time for us to join. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to take a stitch marker, slide that on the needle so we know this is going to now be the end of the round. And now all brioche rows are worked in two parts, two passes. If any of you are tapestry, Tunisian crocheters, think of it in that same way, how you have to have a forward and a backward pass. This isn't a forward and a backward pass in that way, but you are going to work each round only with one color at one time. All right, so how these are usually written is let's say round one, color A, round one, color B. So we are back to color A, which is this mustard color. And we know that because we see that on the bottom. All right, so to join, we're going to join just as we would any other circular project. You want to make sure you're not twisting. If it makes you feel better, just kind of run your fingers across the bottom ridges to make sure they're all facing the right way. And then we're going to do what's called a brioche knit one. Now, remember we had that tail kind of hanging? We need to make sure that that is where it needs to be. Okay, so we are going to, brioche knit one is basically, here's where it gets tricky. It's really a knit two together, but you're not supposed to call it that because brioche knitters or the brioche knitting school of thought is that you think of the little scarf, see the little yarn over, and the other stitch as one. So it's called a brioche knit one. So that means that you are going to knit with your color A, the yarn over and the stitch together. Excuse me, that was an extra loop. Okay, then after that, you're going to slip one stitch purlwise, yarn over, and repeat that, brioche knit. Now we see that we've got our little scarf and we've got our little stitch. I'm going to bring it closer so you can see a little bit better. Okay, and then we're going to slip the next stitch, yarn over, brioche knit. And that's all that there is to the first pass. You do that all the way across. So you're never working with more than one color at one time. Much in the way as, say, like a mosaic knitting is, where it looks like there's a bunch going on, but there really isn't. Okay, so you would just continue all the way around until all of your stitches are worked. Changing up the colors again. Get situated. Okay, so now what we want to do is we've worked our round one. There we are. We've worked our round 1A, and that's always going to be your brioche knit. Meaning, I'm going to bring in this little piece here, meaning on the right side, the knit stitches, your main color will always be knit. So it's really easy to remember. If it's time to work on if it's time to pick up color A or your main color, you know that you're doing the brioche knits. Likewise, your contrasting color will always be brioche pearls. So I'm finishing this last round, round 1A, which means that I'm ending with, I just did a brioche knit, ending with a slip one yarn over. I'm going to move my marker. And now I'm going to just let that kind of hang. If you want, you can kind of pinch it back here. It gets easier as you go along. And then bring your color B up behind it to kind of lock it. And now what we're going to do is we are working on round 1B, which means we're working with our contrasting color B, and we will be doing brioche pearls. So with B, you want to move your yarn in front, and you're going to slip one, yarn over, and now we're going to do what's called a brioche pearl. Just like its sister, the brioche knit, it really is like it looks like it's a work two together, like a purl two together. But we know brioche stitches mean, the philosophy behind brioche is that the little scarf, the little yarn over, and the stitch are considered one. So to brioche pearl, you're going to insert your needle through the scarf and the stitch and purl. Slip one, yarn over, brioche pearl. Slip one, yarn over, brioche pearl. And that's literally all you do. So remember, each round that you're counting, when you're counting rows, is actually 2, because you need to work the purl rounds and the knit rounds essentially at a separate time. And you would just continue that all the way around. And as it builds, you'd start to see these columns of colors. Super, super easy. And you never have to second guess on what color you have to use, because you know if you're on a brioche knit, you're on your main color. If you're on a brioche purl row, you're on your contrasting color. That's it. Like, so I think it's so much more user-friendly than the knitting brioche, bicolor brioche at least, flat. Let me fix this camera a little bit. All right, so that's really it. I hope that you give it a try. I will suggest that when you're just starting out, choose a roving yarn, a single ply, because if you're still working on your brioche gauge, single ply yarns actually bloom, so they'll fill in any of the inconsistencies, where a plied yarn, you have to be a little bit more on your A game for that to look as clean at the beginning. Just a little pro tip for you. And that is really it. I'm actually super excited about this. I actually cast on myself for a project in the round last night. You can see. And I'm actually doing some increasing and decreasing here, so that's why it's all kind of wiggly waggly. It's from the latest issue of Pom Pom magazine. I'm going to try making this. When am I going to have time to do it? Since I'm working on a book also? I don't really know. But I figure if I can get in a couple rounds every now and then I can do my part to be on this new year, new journey with you guys. So that's really all there is to it. If there's any questions, please just post them in the comment section and I will come back later and answer them. If for the rest of the week, I'll be on camera a couple different times. If you're local in Austin, I'll be on We Are Austin tomorrow at 9 a.m. Central on our local CBS station. Later, I will post that online. I'm just going to be talking about yarny ways that you can create for Valentine's Day. And then on Wednesday, I will be over on the Joanne Facebook page to show Intro to Tunisian Crochet and how to make this little tissue cozy. We'll be covering Tunisian Simple Stitch. We'll also be covering foundation rows, binding off, and changing colors. So that is that. Thank you so much to the many of you who helped me out over the weekend when I was asking about whether or not you'd be interested in a subscription service from me. It was so helpful. Your comments truly, truly did make a big difference for myself and the company I'll be working with. So as always, I'm so appreciative of my community. If you're still interested in participating in that, you can just go to my Facebook page, /Vickie Howell, and scroll down and you'll see that there's a live video that I did there where I was asking a bunch of questions and using y'all as my test group. And I so appreciate it. Okay, I think that is it. Oh, one last thing. Question. I didn't take the question this week. We had a question. This week's question comes from Bobby Mashburn. She wants to know if brioche is the same as fisherman's rib. That's a great question. It's a very often asked question. They are considered family members, but they are not actually the same thing. So fisherman's rib does not use does not use yarn overs or brioche stitches. It creates the same squishy look because it actually uses knit stitches that are worked in a row or two below so that you're still getting that same elongated look that you get from slipping a stitch, but they are separate things. So same family, different stitches. Okay, now for reals, I'm out. Have a great rest of your week. Please take some time to be creative and be sweet to each other. Okay, bye.